All right, so we are doing Intro to Geometry vocabulary. Now, this is going to help you understand, well, the language of geometry. We have about 30 terms. I'm just going to read them out to you, and you guys can look at the pictures. So, number one, it's an acute angle. And the definition is an angle whose measure is between 0 and 90 degrees. So then the picture here is any angle between here, the two arrows. All right, that is number one. Number two, adjacent angles. Two angles in the same plane that have a common vertex and a common side. So adjacent angle is A and B that have a common side. So these lines are also called sides or legs, and they have a common vertex will be this point right here. Number three, collinear. So points that lie on the same straight line. So it has to be one line and all the points have to be on that line. And then here's an example of what it is. And here's an example of what is not. So these 3 points are not on the line. Number four, compass. An instrument used for drawing circles or arcs or for transferring the distance between 2 points from one place to another. So these right here, we don't have those anymore. We have plastic ones that look like a ruler. Normally we would use those, but now it's kind of hard to do, in person or not in person. But that's what a compass is. It's like the ones you draw circles. Maybe in elementary you might have had those. Number five, complementary angles. Complementary angles are two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. So these two angles add up to 90 degrees. So this line could move anywhere as long as it's between this line and this line, it'll add up to 90 degrees. So number six, congruent figures. Figures having the same size and shape. So congruent figures, the way you could think about it is your shoes. The left shoe is congruent to the right shoe, but reflected, right? So congruent. A congruent figure is the same thing. So the same thing. So let's say you have two toys, or two basketballs, that's better. Two basketballs, two footballs, those are congruent figures. All right. 7, corresponding angles or sides. Angles or sides that have the same relative positions in geometric figures. So corresponding angles, so this angle is on the outside. It's the same size, the same degree of this angle here on this outside. So those are corresponding angles, one inside, one outside. A line. A line is the straight path connecting 2 points and extending beyond the points in both directions. So a line just goes on forever and ever, right? It goes this way and that way. A line segment, so if A and B are two distinct points on a straight line, the part of the line between and including A and B is a line segment. So the line segment has an end point and a starting point. So it starts and ends, starts and ends. So that is what a line segment is. It is defined, it is limited. Number 10, linear pair, a pair of adjacent angles formed by an intersection of a line. So a linear pair is a pair of adjacent angles formed by the intersection of a line. So this linear pair was 1 and 2. So this line just kind of came out of nowhere, right? Makes a linear pair. That is what it is. 11, midpoint. The point on a line segment that divides it into two equal parts. So half, the midpoint is half of the line. So if we're looking at this point and this point, the middle is half of the line. That is what midpoint is. The middle. Number 12, obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees, but is less than 180 degrees. So obtuse is greater than 90. So this angle right here is more than 90 degrees. Now 90 degrees will be just up and down. So it has to be less than 180. So it can't be more than 180 because then it won't be obtuse anymore. So it has to be less than 180, but greater than 90. So you're looking at this right here. Parallel lines, number 13. Two lines in two-dimensional Euclidean space are said to be parallel if they do not intersect. So here, parallel lines, they will never touch. So it will go on forever and ever and never intersect. 14, perpendicular lines. Two lines are perpendicular if they intersect at a right angle. So that's right here. This little square means it's 90 degrees. In the coordinate geometry of a plane, the product of the slopes of two perpendicular lines is -1. So again, the product of slopes of two perpendicular lines is -1. So it's usually the negative reciprocal, and sometimes we'll work on that later. But all you have to know is perpendicular lines are 90 degrees to each other. Plane, number 15. A two-dimensional surface that extends infinitely far. So a plane like this could be a rhombus, it could be a quadrilateral. We'll catch all quadrilateral. We'll say it goes up this way in this direction, it goes down this way in this direction, it goes left that direction, it has right in that direction. So you could expand it forever, never, never. That is what a plane is. Number 16, point. A point in Euclidean geometry has no size, orientation, or any other feature except position. So point B, this point is not necessarily an indicator of how big the point is. It's just lets you know where it is located at. This is what point is defined as in geometry. 17, polygon, a closed plane figure with n sides. So a polygon has sides that are closed, so it's enclosed. So if you have a crazy line going this and that way, it's not really a plane because it has to have a set number of sides. So this was a triangle, quadrilateral, pentagon, hexagon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, nineagon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, septagon or heptagon. This is what a polygon is. 18, polyhedron, a three-dimensional solid which consists of a collection of polygons usually joined at their ends. So right here, polyhedrons, right? 3D figures. Those are examples. 19, postulate, a statement whose truth is either to be taken as self-evident or to be assumed. So if you don't understand that, if I tell you the sun is yellow, you can look at it and agree with me, right? For the most part, that's what it is. It's kind of common sense. Protractor, 20, an instrument of measure for measuring angles. So this protractor, so that's what it looks like. We have plastic ones like these, and you just put it on the line and you look at this way, and then it tells you what degree it is. And that's what a protractor is called. 21, ray, the part of a straight line extending from a point indefinitely in one direction. So it has a starting point and it goes on forever. So it starts somewhere, but never gets anywhere. That is what a ray is. 22, right angle, an angle that measures exactly 90 degrees. So right here, this little square lets you know that it's 90 degrees. That is what a right angle is. Similar figures. Okay, so two geometrical figures that are of the same shape, but not necessarily of the same size. Their corresponding angles are congruent and corresponding sides are proportional in length. So similar figures. So these triangles are similar, right? They look the same, but the sizes are different. So again, going back with shoes, if you have a size 5 shoe, right? This looks exactly like the same size shoe, but of 10. So if this is a size 5 right here, this is a size 10, they look the same, but just different sizes. That's what similar means. They look very similar. 24, straight angle. An angle that measures exactly 180 degrees. So a straight angle, so it's just kind of a flat line, has 180 degrees. That is the measure of this flat angle. Now, if you see here, if I go here to here, that's 90, and I go another 90, that's 180. So that's where it comes from. A straight edge, 25, tool used for drawing straight lines and measuring length. A straight edge or ruler, whatever has an edge that is straight. 26, supplementary angles. Two angles are said to be supplementary if their sum is 180 degrees. So again, a straight angle has 180, right? So supplementary adds up to 180. So 140 plus 40, it's 180 degrees. So that's what supplementary angles mean. 27, symmetry is when one shape becomes exactly like another if you flip, slide, or turn it. So this flower right here, up and down, left and right is the same. If I cut it this way and I cut it this way, it's going to be symmetrical. Now, if I keep cutting and cutting and cutting, this is what symmetry is. It's going to look the same whichever way I cut it. 28, theorem, a mathematical statement established by means of proof. So a theorem is like if your friend tells you, hey, I got chips in my backpack, prove it. You take out your chips, that's your proof, right? You got proof, that's a theorem. But in math, we have to use different things, but that's exactly the same thing. Transformation, 29, the mapping or movement of all the points of a figure in a plane according to a common operation. So transformation, so the blue goes to red, that's called a translation. The blue rotates to red, that's called a rotation. The blue gets smaller to red, that's called a dilation. And the blue reflected over to red is called a reflection. That is a transformation. 30, vertical angles. Two non-adjacent angles formed by intersecting lines or segments, also called opposite angles. So vertical angles, you're going to see it all throughout the whole course of geometry. They're opposite sides and they're congruent. So angle 1 is the same as angle 2. If this was, let's say it was 100 degrees, this will also be 100 degrees. So that is what vertical angles are. And those are your 30 definitions that hopefully will help you better understand and give you a good solid foundation for geometry. Thank you for listening to the end.